The Renew podcast features inspiring conversations between host Lauren Martin and influential women shaping the real estate industry. Renew is a rent-free initiative to unite and cheer on women professionals from every corner of the real estate world, coast to coast.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Renew podcast with Eliza Wilson. We are so excited to have her, and to get us started, we're going to ask her the pop quiz question of the month. So, Eliza, my pop quiz question for you is, given that we're going into summer months, what is your go-to genre for beach vacation reading?
Ooh, for beach vacations, I would definitely say a rom-com book is my favorite. I just actually finished One Golden Summer, and that was like the perfect summer read. Takes place at a lake house, and yeah, something easy for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like sometimes I pick up like a murder mystery or something, and then I start getting stressed, and I'm like, I'm sitting on the beach. You're not supposed to feel this
Right,
anxious.
exactly.
Well, I love that. Welcome to the Renew podcast presented by Renspree, where we aim to elevate female voices, share insights on how to navigate industry challenges, and showcase the remarkable achievements of women in real estate. I'm your host, Lauren Martin, and today we have a very special guest joining us. Her name is Eliza Wilson. She is the Director of Marketing at Ocusell. She has a very diverse and exciting background in PropTech and working with startups. Eliza, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course, of course. Well, to get us started in the part one section of your podcast, we're really going to just talk about the woman behind the work. So if you don't mind sharing with our listeners a little bit about you today and your current role at Ocusell.
Yeah, so I am currently the director of marketing at Ocusell. I've been here for a little over 4 years now. So throughout that time, I've kind of worn many hats, from customer success to product management to product design and now to marketing. So I've kind of seen it all, which has been a really cool experience. But yeah, I got into this. I graduated college, was looking for jobs. I kind of knew I wanted a smaller company, but real estate was never really something on my radar, especially PropTech. And I kind of got connected to Hayden, who's the founder of Ocusell, through another small company that I was interviewing with. And I met with Hayden, kind of heard his story and what he was building and his vision and mission, and was just very drawn in. I didn't really know much about the industry at all. I learned a lot. I mean, I thought there was one MLS in the so it was, once he kind of filled me in on the listing process and what brokers and admins and staff kind of have to go through when they list properties to multiple MLSs, I very quickly understood the problem that we were addressing, and yeah, been there ever since. So
That's awesome. I love that. You know, when I got started in PropTech, I'm sure our listeners know this, I came from a fashion background, which is like completely, totally different. And when I got started, there were so many words and terms and MLSs and associations and brokerages, and how do they all intermix? And there really are so many needs that still need to be met. And I love what you guys are doing over at Ocusell. But I am curious, what were your roles? I know you said you worked at a lot of startups kind of pre-Ocusell. What fields were they in? Kind of all over the place, or?
yeah, so my experience with previous startups were all internships, but they were all under the field of marketing. Since that's what I studied in college, I was kind of interested in marketing. But yeah, obviously at a startup, you're exposed to much more than just your role. So I kind of was able to see a lot of the business at all of those startups and just grew a passion for working for smaller companies.
Yeah, definitely. Well, at Renew, one of our kind of the most important things that we focus on is women empowerment. And I feel like, especially in prop tech and especially in startups where it is so male dominated, especially on the technical side, I'm curious what women empowerment means to you and how it's kind of played a role in your journey so far.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a very male dominated industry, tech in general, and then prop tech even more so. So there's definitely been moments where, you can doubt yourself being the only woman in the room. But I think it's important to surround yourself with people who lift you up and also lift yourself up. But I have amazing female friendships in my life and sisters and my mom, and I lean on them, heavily just to give me support and validation. So I think surrounding yourself with people who have your best interest at heart and lift you up is definitely what helps me the most.
For sure. And I think you bring up a really important point too. Like a lot of the times when we talk about female mentorship, we talk about it on like a work level, but a lot of the times it's in your personal life. And especially in such a male dominated industry, it's harder to find those people to find camaraderie with. So tell me a little bit about your mom and your sisters.
Yeah, so I have two older sisters. I also have an older brother. So I'm the youngest of four. And my mom. And one of my sisters is in hospitality, and my other sister is kind of on the digital tech side. So I really lean heavily on her for even just questions, especially when I first started in this role, when you kind of have to figure things out for yourself.
Yeah.
I leaned on her for a lot of marketing assistance and digital help. And then my mom's just always been a huge role model in my life. She's instilled in me from a very young age to always be your own best advocate. And that's something I've carried with me throughout my life. I was definitely a very severely shy child growing up, and honestly, up until like high school. So it's hard, when you're that shy to speak up for yourself. And I just always have her voice in my head, be your own best advocate. And that's really helped me push for, myself and speak up for myself in situations. Even things like silly things, like if Starbucks gets my drink wrong, right? Like I previously would have just accepted it, like, oh, I'm not going to bother them, right? I don't want any confrontation, but I paid for that drink. It should be
Right.
my order. So yeah, they're all role models in my life.
That's awesome. I love that she pushes for you to be your best advocate. I definitely was the same way for the longest time. I was a very shy kid. I didn't have a ton of friends growing up. I was really close with my family. And it wasn't until I kind of like got into high school and I was kind of a theater nerd.
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay to be on stage, still kind of an introvert. And then I got into the workplace and I had role models. One of the early ones I had, her name was Linda. She worked with me at Remind, but she always told me like, hey, speak up. And now I'm the person, like my boyfriend won't tell somebody that like he ordered mashed potatoes and they gave him French fries.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's like, excuse me, we ordered mashed potatoes. He's like, shh, no. I'm like, no, you want your
You
mashed
ordered it, so
potatoes.
you should get it. Yeah, no, that's
Right.
exactly how I am. And it's, you can feel like it's coming off as rude, but you just have to remind yourself that it's not rude. You're just sticking up for
Yeah. And it's all about phrasing too. Like you definitely could be rude if you're
right.
like,
There's a way
excuse
to
me,
do
I
it.
said mashed potatoes.
Yes,
But
exactly.
I think it's all about communication and saying like, hi, I'm so sorry. I think we placed an order for mashed potatoes because like sometimes maybe you didn't, right? That's happened to me at Starbucks where I'm like, I said iced.
Yeah.
And then my mom will be like, no, you said hot. And I'm
You're
like,
like,
oh.
oh. I said it in my head.
Right, exactly. Well, I wanted iced.
Yeah.
But I love that. I think it's so important to have those people in your life. And even when it comes to like, I don't know if you've leaned on them for like salary negotiations, right? Like I know when I started out, I asked my mom, she's a loan officer, and I'm like, "Hey mom, should I just accept their first offer?" And she's like, "No, don't
Yeah,
accept their first offer. Like tell them what you think you're worth." I don't
right.
know, do you ask your
Oh,
family for
yeah.
that as well?
I mean, I always run things past at least four people in my life.
Yeah.
Any decision I make. But it's just helpful to get those different perspectives and points of view. I mean, when I had one interview with Ocusell, but after I was kind of offered this position, I was unsure of what I was going to do just because I think I was scared. I knew that going with this very early stage startup meant I wouldn't have a lot of guidance or, hands-on support or training like I would if I went the corporate route. So
Hmm.
that was scary. I was like, I don't know if I
Yeah.
can do this. But so I leaned a lot on people in my life to get their advice and input, and ultimately just came to the decision like, if it fails, right, I can always, at least I walk away with experience, an experience that I wouldn't have gotten at a more established company. So there's always a pro, and it's been the best experience so far. And I'm very grateful that the people in my life pushed me to go for it.
For sure. We all need that little push every once in a
Yes.
while. Question I have for you next is you have an amazing group of guys over there. I know them personally, Hayden, Dee, they're wonderful. I see them at conferences all the time. I remember the last one we were at, I was like walking to lunch and they were like, Lauren, picture, picture. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so run down. But for you guys, I will.
That was me in the
Um,
back of their head telling them, get pictures for marketing.
It was you.
You can blame me for
It
that
was you.
one.
Yeah, but with that, probably at previous companies or whatever, we all face kind of uphill battles when it comes to being a woman. And I'm curious of any challenges that you've faced throughout your career that you've had to overcome as a female in the tech space.
Yeah, I think I work with, majority men, but they are the best group of guys I could ask for. They're so supportive. Each of them are like my biggest cheerleaders on an everyday basis. So I couldn't ask for a supportive group to be around me. But I think for me, it's like self-induced, like self-doubt. Um,
Yeah.
but sometimes it can just be hard to like find your voice in a meeting when you're the only woman, just because you feel like, do I belong here? Like, what do I have to add that's valuable? But it's just reminding yourself that I have earned a seat to be here. I clearly have, valuable perspectives that are different from theirs. And um, yeah, I also lean very heavily into just listening. And I think, having this job straight out of college, that's another thing that I can get in my head about of I don't have the years of experience that my coworkers do from other jobs. So even if I don't have anything valuable to add during a conversation or a meeting, just listening to them and just taking it all in, because everyone has, unique perspectives and insights to share. So, yeah, listening is definitely a skill that I feel like is underrated.
For sure. I don't remember the exact stats, but I think it's like the best leaders are, I'm going to make this up, like 70% listeners. Because I feel like with some leaders that just talk constantly, they're not relying on their team. And when you sit back and you listen to what's going on and process, and then when you do say something, it is of value, right? Like you've thought about it, you've processed it, and you're going to speak up. But I definitely think that it is self doubt that a lot of women feel is like I feel it all the time. It's like imposter syndrome, right? Like
Yeah.
when I started the podcast, I think I told you in our pre-call, our CEO Mike was like, "You're gonna be the one doing the podcast," and I was like, nobody's gonna care what I have to say. Maybe
Right.
somebody else should do it. I've never done a podcast before, and I'm amazed all the time at how many women are like, "Hey, like so and so said something like I needed to hear that day." And I think what you said is so powerful, right? Like you do have something to say and you were chosen for a reason, right? Like Hayden hired you because of your unique skill set. So I think that's awesome to hear. Any struggles that you faced just coming out of college being a woman? I know when I was in school, I hated getting paired up with the dudes that were like, oh, I thought you were going to be stupid, but now that you're smart, can you do all the work?
Yes, I've definitely experienced that in college. I feel like I was a business major and the business school was majority men. So that kind of same type of feel in classes, it's like all these athletes and guys and you're just still kind of in there's just not as many women, so it can feel hard to speak up and but yeah, the group project thing, I feel like I've experienced that where they just depend on you to do it all. They
Yes,
have
the
this
note taker.
entitlement where they don't have to, they're not going to touch the, work that they don't want to do. She'll do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So I've definitely felt that. It's
for sure,
frustrating.
for
But
sure.
I'm lucky to, in my position today, have the group of guys that I work with because they always make me feel so valued and supported. So,
That's awesome. Well, as you know, I'm sure we were just talking before this podcast, even we started recording. Life is hard.
yeah.
And as much as we try to keep things under control, it just things go awry. And what are some things that you do to stay positive? And is there like a personal mantra that you live by or practices you try to do to stay stay positive through life?
Yeah, it's hard sometimes for sure. But just reminding yourself that you've got this, you can do it, you've done it before when you thought you couldn't. I think there's so much power in the phrase "fake it till you make it,"
Yes.
and that's I'm a huge proponent of that. I think it's real and it works, and just pretending to be this person that maybe you don't feel like you are in that moment, but it really helps you move forward and have that confidence. And I think that's definitely helped me the most. I love music too. Whenever I'm feeling stressed or like I need something to lift my spirits, I'll play music that makes me more upbeat. And
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference.
I think that's what are your go-to upbeat happy songs?
Uh, that's hard. I mean, I have so many bands that I love, but I feel like if I need something to just ease my mind, I'll probably be playing Taylor Swift, to be
Yeah.
honest. Um, but yeah, it kind of differs.
Yeah, I have my like go-to happy songs. I've had them my whole life. Like if I'm really low, Spice Girls always for the win.
Yep.
And then one of my all-time happy songs is Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band. Just a little disco to like lighten the mood,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
But
Love that.
I think that fake it till you make it is really an underrated thing. There's so many times where, like today, I was like, this morning I woke up feeling like Eeyore, kind of, and I was like, I just need to get ready, get dressed, and put on a smile, and then the rest is kind of going to melt away as I go. But
Yeah,
that's sometimes easier said than done.
for sure.
One thing too, I always wear a bracelet that says "This too shall pass" because, like you said, you've been through it before. It's hard to see when you're going through something,
Hmm.
but you can get through it like you did the last time.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that mantra. Also, just like getting ready. I know I work remotely, so sometimes it can be hard to get ready, but I think putting on an outfit and doing, maybe some makeup and hair just makes you feel better. And that just helps me tackle the day. Going on
Yeah.
walks. There's so many things, yeah, I can do to help lift.
Going on walks, I think, has been a life changer for me recently. I've started doing, like, if I join a call, I won't turn my video on and I'll just take it from a walk. Like if I don't have to talk that much.
Yeah.
Um I don't know about you, but looking at a screen all day, like
Oh,
it
yeah.
just is hard on you. So taking those kind of visual breaks definitely help too.
Yeah, the eye strain is definitely real at the end of the day.
Yes, for real.
Yeah, and I love like I've been recently trying to wake up and go straight on a walk and get
Mhm.
outside first thing in the morning, and that has also really helped me. Just getting fresh air, and then you kind of come back to your desk and you're a little bit more, clear-headed and ready to
Yeah.
work.
I don't know about you, but through COVID, I definitely fell into the like sweatpants slump. That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it. And I was wearing sweatpants every day, and then it took me being like, all right, enough is enough. I need to do my hair, look presentable, and it does make a difference in how
Yeah,
you feel for sure.
it does.
We all fell into the sweatpants slump.
Yeah.
But two more questions I have for you before we move on to the next section. But what are some, I know you said you love music, things you love to read, going on walks, but what are the things that you do in your fun time that make life worth living and is a good work-life balance?
Yeah, I try and book a workout class like at least a few times a week in the evening, like 5 or 6-ish. I think
Hmm.
that's a really great thing for me because it forces me to close the laptop and go to this class because if you cancel, you'll get charged an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
That forces me to get out, go to my workout class. I love like yoga and bar classes, Pilates. And now that it's warming up here in Chicago, um, there's so much more fun activities to do. I just went to a Cubs game a couple weeks ago. I'm going again next weekend. Hanging out with friends. Chicago has a great food scene, so trying new restaurants and exploring new neighborhoods and flea markets and all that stuff. I think
Yeah.
pickleball is something that I love to do, although I'm not great at it. So this summer, I'm kind of trying to make it a point to play it more so that I can improve my skills. And then same with golf. I'd really love to get into golfing a little bit more this summer.
Yeah, I really want to get into golfing. My dad really wanted me to be a golfer growing up, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're a natural, you're a prodigy." I was like, "This is so boring."
It's a long day on the
This
course.
is a long day in the
Yeah.
sun. I'm like, "This is not fun. I don't want to do this."
Yeah, that's why like my cap is 9 holes. I would never
Yeah.
can't be out there for longer than that. But
You can catch me for a good round of putt-putt golf.
yeah, top
But
golf, that's fun too.
yeah, exactly. Okay, last question I have for you. What is one surprising thing that you learned about yourself through your journey that you never expected?
I would say that I didn't realize how much I was capable of. Um, Again, like even just taking this job, I was so scared and I doubted myself a lot of like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. But working at a startup, you kind of just learn to figure it out. And that's given me such confidence as well, like knowing that I'll always be able to figure it out. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess I would just say everything I've done. Like I just didn't realize that I would be capable of this. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I think that you're leading a life that you can be proud of, and the little wins along the way are the exciting ones. So I totally get it. Working for startups is very unique.
Hmm.
And that's going to lead us into part 2 of the podcast, everybody. Thank you, Eliza, for part 1. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the Renew podcast on whatever pod platform you listen to us on, please do so, and make sure to tune in to the next podcast to listen to Eliza's take on marketing in a startup culture and some of the exciting things that she's learned along the way. Thank you, Eliza. We'll see you in the next one.